Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Crimemas Day 5 and today we will be talking about a girl who was so obsessed with her lover that she was willing to do anything just to be with him. Let's just say it's one of those if I can't have you, no one else can type of situations. Today we will be talking about Phoenix Luna and Yuka Takaoka, the real life Yandere girl. Yuka Takaoka was born on January 28, 1998 in Shinjuku, Tokyo, Japan. She was quite eccentric in nature but was described to be a good girl. That's why so many people in her life were so surprised when she decided to drop out of college at the age of 19 to pursue a career in bar hosting. On the side, she was a cosplayer and would dress up as many different characters. However, this was just a hobby. To make a living, she works at a hostess bar as a manager. Now, as a hostess, it's her job to entertain and talk to male guests while serving them alcoholic beverages and drink with them as well. And she was said to be pretty good at this gig and would make a ton of money via commissions or sales. Now, Yuka was said to be quiet, laid back, and extremely sweet, which made her perfect for the role. She had this very cutesy yet seductive image, which her customers truly loved about her. Now, everything was going on very smoothly in Yuka's life until she met a 20-year-old guy named Phoenix Luna in April of 2018. And just like her, Phoenix also worked as a host in a nightclub, but catered to female guests or customers instead. He was extremely popular and would often top the host's leaderboards in terms of sales or commissions. And a lot of the female customers would look for him and book him for the night. And of course, this was very PG, just talking, drinking, and flirting, I think. But before finding success in the hosting industry, Phoenix Luna had a very tough upbringing. He had 7 other siblings, and life was not easy for him and his family. So, when he was in elementary school, the hardships of life took a toll on his parents' relationship, resulting to them divorcing. But not only this, his entire family soon decided to go their separate ways, leaving Phoenix in an institution where he grew up on his own. After this, he did not have any communication with his parents nor his siblings. After middle school, he then started working in the construction industry. However, this did not really work out for him, resulting to him quitting his job. And this left Phoenix penniless and homeless for a while. Now, luckily for him, he was a very charming and good-looking guy, and he eventually found himself entering and actually thriving as a bar host. Now, due to their similar career paths and interests, Yuka and Phoenix became good friends and eventually started dating in October of 2018. They had almost the same schedule and understood each other's job as they were on the same line of work. However, it wouldn't take long for Yuka to grow jealous, as Phoenix, as I have mentioned, was one of Club Fusion's top hosts. She then decides to book him so no other woman could. I am not sure how long she did this for, but she paid an estimated amount of $9,000 a month just to make sure that he doesn't entertain other women. Now, at first, Phoenix didn't really seem to mind. He did, in fact, find this very sweet. He was still topping the leaderboards because Yuka was paying for his services, even though she wasn't actually in the bar because she was working herself. Now, in Phoenix's mind, things were going smoothly for them, but that wasn't the case for Yuka at all. On May 23rd, 2019, Yuka had asked Phoenix to help her with some household chores, but instead of seeing her at 12 noon, he arrived at 3 p.m. after a very long workday. Once he arrived in Yuka's home, he then asked her if he could run himself a bath first to help him relax, to which she said yes. And while he was in the bathroom, he had no idea that Yuka was actually looking through his cell phone, seeing messages from another woman. And this enraged Yuka. She didn't need an explanation. She knew that this wasn't a customer because she had already paid for Phoenix's services for the entire month. In her mind, he had no reason to text any other woman at all. Now, after his bath, Phoenix saw Yuka sleeping on the bed and decided to lay next to her, falling asleep as well. Around an hour and a half later, Phoenix woke up feeling quite uncomfortable, and this is when he saw a knife sticking out of his abdomen as Yuka crouched over him. In a panic, he shoved her aside and ran to the door. Yuka then catches up with him, but he was able to shake her off and successfully ride the elevator. And once he reached the lobby of the apartment building, he collapsed on the floor. Yuka caught up to him once again, and seeing his almost lifeless body, she just sat there, calmly watching him bleed out. And she never called emergency services either. There were a lot of onlookers who witnessed this, but were too scared to approach the two. Now, Phoenix was dying at this point. Luckily, some of the onlookers did decide to call emergency services, and just a few minutes later, help arrived. And once they did, Yuka was still sitting beside Phoenix, who was laying in a pool of his own blood. And as he was bleeding out, Yuka, on the other hand, was on her phone with a friend, casually smoking a cigarette. Now, she was taken into custody right away, while Phoenix, who had received 2 stab wounds, was immediately transported to the hospital. Now, what really made the headlines was how Yuka acted after getting arrested. It was bizarre. She was seen grinning at the back of the patrol car, seemingly so proud of what she had just done. Now, when the authorities asked Yuka why she would do such a thing to her boyfriend, she simply said, "I just liked him so much, I couldn't help it." And the way she'd said this made her seem so innocent that it made the police flabbergasted. She also said, "After I stabbed him, he told me that he liked me." And she seemed happy at this point. She also told the police officers that the reason why she didn't call emergency services was that she was planning to kill herself after watching him bleed out. Now, things were not looking good for Phoenix. One of the stab wounds had hit and punctured his liver, and according to doctors, he only had a 20% chance of survival. He was unconscious for 5 days, but miraculously made a full recovery a month later. So yes, Phoenix made it. He survived. When Phoenix was in the hospital, his older brother and older sister actually came to visit him after having no form of any contact in 5 years. And once he made a full recovery, he assured his fans and customers that he was fine, even apologizing for making them worry too much. Now, he did contemplate on retiring from his hosting gig, but ended up going back to work eventually because he saw his fellow hosts as family, because he didn't only work with them, he also actually lived with them in a dormitory provided by the club. And upon returning to work, he topped the leaderboards again. But you may be wondering what happened to Yuka. She was, of course, put in jail, but shockingly, Phoenix himself pleaded for the judge to reduce Yuka's sentence, saying that he understood her and held no resentment towards her. They were no longer romantically involved after the stabbing incident, but this guy was just an angel. He said that he knew she did it out of love. On December 5th, 2019, 21-year-old Yuka Takaoka was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison for attempted murder. 3.5 years for trying to take her boyfriend's life. Now, she was asked to pay Phoenix a court settlement of 5 million yen or $47,000 for damages. And after this, she was nicknamed the real-life Yandere girl. Now, to those who are unaware, like I was before researching this case, a Yandere is a Japanese archetype to define a character whose love, admiration, and devotion is so strong that it is expressed as an excessive obsession and possessiveness. In other words, crazy in love, with the word crazy taken quite literally in this case. In later interviews, Phoenix admitted to becoming paranoid after the incident and said that he is receiving therapy to help overcome what he experienced. He also revealed that he now had a cross shaped scar running from the middle of his chest all the way to his belly button. He also confirmed that after realizing that he had been stabbed, he did tell Yuka that he liked her, and he did so because he thought that this would soften her up and change her mind, and that she would stop attacking him and instead call for help. But just like the positive person that he always was, he had decided to take this experience and turn it into something positive. He says that because of this event, he has reconnected with some of his siblings and is now even more successful at his career. And honestly, he deserves it. He sounds like an amazing guy, and I hope he continues to thrive in all aspects of his life. Yuka Takaoka, on the other hand, will be released either in late 2023 or in early 2024. So yeah, she will be released in no time after attempting to kill her boyfriend, which is crazy. And I guess that's all that I have for you guys for today's video. As usual, I would love to hear your thoughts on this case. Do you think 3.5 years is too short or is just right for attempted murder? Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys tomorrow.